So by the time this comes out, Cosmic Alpha 2 is going to have been released. Because everything is done open source, you know, it's open source, right? So you can like see when the like alpha is there, right? Like when I got like the release notes from System 76, they were like embargo until the thing comes out. And the reason why they embargo it isn't because like it's actually embargoed and the thing is not there and you can't actually see it. It's they want to give everybody who is in like the tech journalisty space around this like an opportunity to get their material together so that people don't like jump the gun and start talking about things early. But because it is like public, if you didn't like get the embargo, there's absolutely nothing wrong with going to the Git repo, grabbing the Git commit that is available right now, which is basically Alpha 2. Actually, I think that they've generated the Alpha 2 ISO, so the Alpha 2 is basically already there, and just going with that. But I want to say I really appreciate the way that System 76 has been handling their interactions with the FOSS space, with journalists, with YouTubers, and everybody else. So when the Alpha 1 came out, and this isn't just a me thing, right? This is like a bunch of other people. When Alpha 1 came out, I was sent a bunch of press notes. I was sent like a bunch of slides and like release information, like, oh, this is a feature that's happening, all this fun stuff. And they also held a big press event. I did a video on that. That's the thing that I cut up and uploaded on the channel. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. Even though I was awake at a very, 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 very stupid time in the morning, I would very much appreciate showing up to one of those again. Now, with Alpha 2, they didn't do a press event, which makes sense because it's like a month and a half between those 2 points. So there wouldn't really be like much to talk about because yes, there is a bunch of changes. Yes, there's a bunch of commits, but when you're going from nothing to Alpha 1, you have a lot of things. When you're going from Alpha 1 to Alpha 1.1, basically, it's called Alpha 2, but like, you know, it's a month worth of commits on top. There's not as much things to talk about there. But they did send me a 10-page document talking about all of the changes that they they want to talk about. Like, you know, I think one of the things they brought up there was the fact that they now have sound settings, for example. They have network settings, other things like that. There are some things they didn't mention, like the fact that they now have density settings, which is very nice to see. So if you don't like the fact that Cosmic is very, very bloated in the way like the UI is designed, where there's just like gaps everywhere for no reason, you can now go with the compact setting. It's a little bit scuffed. There's a lot of things that don't respect it, or like they might respect it, but the spacing doesn't look consistent. Compact feels like it was designed by one of the engineers, whereas like spacious and comfortable feel like it was designed by a designer. Like compact is there probably because people like Jeremy Soller were sick of having to deal with spacious, but compact isn't a final design. At least that's what it seems like to me. But I really appreciate the fact that System 76 is reaching out to people to talk about what is being done in their desktop. Because if we look at both GNOME and KDE to a lesser extent because they do have people like Nate doing his weekly blogs, GNOME has a thing, but it's like, it's less of a, like, GNOME has the like GNOME Weekly, whatever it's called. It's less of like a formatted post and more like a collection of other posts from other people. So it feels a lot more disjointed. But System 76 is reaching out to people in this space, the journalists, the YouTubers, and basically using them for free marketing, which I very much appreciate because I want to make content on Cosmic, and being provided things early, being provided like release notes, ISOs, things like that, honestly makes things so much easier. And I was going to do the content anyway, but it's clearly building a like relationship with people in this space, and getting in contact with Kyle and Jeremy and people like that is very, very easy to do. I need to bring Victoria on the podcast at some point, the developer of Smithy, because I think that'll be fun. But I haven't really seen this same sort of vibe from KDE and GNOME. What I think should be done, right? It doesn't have to happen every single like minor update, but when GNOME 47 drops and 48 drops and 49 drops, and it doesn't have to be like a 2-hour Zoom call, right? But at least reach out to journalists, reach out to YouTubers, send them the version of the GNOME ISO that you're using anyway for testing internally, because you don't need to like generate something new, but like you were already using something for development testing. Send a link directly to that out to people so they have a thing they can go and test, and preferably also send like some sort of release notes. Like, here are the major changes being done. Here's the things you can talk about. Because whilst I might be critical of GNOME, right, I do think GNOME is a cool desktop. And I like KDE. I think there are some bugs that need to be ironed out. But I think it's a great desktop. But it feels like... It's weird, right? Where KDE and GNOME feel more corporate and feel more distant than the actual desktop made by a company, right? Like, it's a weird sort of feel where it feels like I can get in contact with someone from Cosmic, from System76, a lot easier than I can get in contact with someone from GNOME or from KDE. I don't mean just like random developers. I mean like, you know, people in the GNOME Foundation or the KDE EV. Like, one of the things I talked about when I had when I did the video on Laura taking over. No, that's the Mozilla. Mozilla has Laura Chambers. GNOME, they are looking for a new CEO. One of the things I talked about when Holly had left the GNOME Foundation is, like, I don't remember seeing a single interview that Holly Million had done. Whether that be for, like, even just, like, a GNOME outlet, right? Like, some GNOME person that has a podcast. I don't remember even seeing that. Maybe something happened, but, like, where was an interview with Phoronix or It's Foss or Gaming on Linux or, like, me, right? This isn't just about me, right? Yes, I would like to do these things as well, but why are GNOME and KDE not using the people in this space to promote the material they have? Like, I genuinely don't understand why. It's weird to me, right? Maybe it's because like the projects predate like the way we do things with like tech promotion now, right? Like they're both projects from the 90s, whereas System76 is newer. They're a company. They're more used to dealing with people directly. I don't know. If somebody like if somebody's happily like from like GNOME, whether that be like honestly anyone high up in GNOME wants to talk, I would absolutely love to have you on the podcast, right? Like, I might disagree with you on a lot of things, but like I would happily talk to anyone, and I feel like it would really humanize the people that work on these projects, because when people from KDE have come on and they've talked about stuff, like people can really see like how the thought process for these systems come together. And I don't think that really exists with GNOME. Like, people right now, they see GNOME, they think Red Hat, and, like, it's weird. Again, it's weird, where the project that's actually not a corporate project feels more corporate than the actual corporate project. I don't understand how it's happened. And look, if they don't want to fix it, like, that's fine. Like, you don't have to do anything about it. You can be in this state. You can just ignore the problem. But I don't know. I think it would be a lot more healthy for people to just talk to people. Yeah? Like, you don't have to agree with everyone. Just talk. That's all. Just talk a little bit. Just say, like, even just a couple of words here and there. Doesn't even have to be like a 2-hour interview. Just like 15, 20-minute video. I think would be awesome. But is it going to happen? Probably not. Honestly, I feel like it'd be easy to get someone from Canonical on. There are some Canonical people that follow me, so I'm sure I can work my way up the chain and get someone high up at Canonical on, which would be very funny. Actually, it would be really funny to work my way up the chain with Valve and get someone there on. That would be very amusing as well.